Everybody, my name's David. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I stream and do YouTube on the side. There's a lot of questions around what Sea of Thieves is. Beta's open right now, though that doesn't help you if you're watching this because it's probably posted after the beta's been over. But yeah, there's a lot of questions, like what is it, what do you do, is it for me? So I wanted to clear some of those up as well as kind of give a beginner's guide. I can't speak for the actual game because I'm still playing the beta, but as it currently stands, there's not a lot of tutorials in terms of what you're supposed to do. So I kind of wanted to go through those. So I already started this beta, so I can't show you the character creation screen, but that's pretty self-explanatory. What you see here is basically the two options you have for ships, right? So Galleon is really the full experience if you want to sail with the full crew. My experience so far is that matchmaking has been terrific, so if you're not playing with friends, I wouldn't really stress it. And then you have the sloop. That's what we're going to be using here just because I can show you the mechanics of the game and not really mess up any crew that I'd be playing with, right? Sloop is going to be faster if you are, it's more maneuverable and it's faster for sailing into the wind. So they made it so you can kind of run away from the bigger ships because you're going to be at a disadvantage. But the galleons are going to be faster if they have the full wind behind them, and that'll make sense here in a minute. So we're going to go ahead and choose the sloop for now. You can see here that you can sail a sloop with other people. Usually it's 2 to 3 people versus more for the galleon. We're going to choose sail alone. Again, I don't want to kind of hinder any crew I would have while I'm doing this kind of tutorial. So yeah, while this loads in, my experience so far is I absolutely love this game. That said, this game is not for everybody. I kind of equate it to like Grand Theft Auto Online, where if you're trying to play by yourself, it's really not going to be a good time. The difference for me is with this game, you're match made with teams, right? So there's people out there actually trying to help you, unless you get unlucky and get a troll. There are other crews out there who may try to sink you. They may not. It's kind of up to them. Prerogative is theirs. But with Grand Theft Auto Online, for the most part, you get match made, and it's kind of every man for themselves. The mechanics themselves are relatively simple. It is kind of fetch heavy in the sense that it's a lot like a lot of MMOs. There are 3 guilds. Basically, one of them is centered around going out and finding treasure. You get maps, stuff like that. There's another one that's the Merchant Guild, where it's about like catching animals, stuff like that. I haven't got to experience that one too much yet. And then there's the third guild, which hasn't been in the beta, been in the full game though, which is a little more voodoo-esque, and you're actually trying to go out and find like these mystical skulls. You're not tied to any individual guild. Basically, as you do missions for those guilds, your levels will go up, and then you get better and better missions. So you can actually go through and do those. Now, the quests are quote-unquote bought with in-game currency by a person. So what'll happen is, say you've been playing for like weeks, right? And you get a crew with newer people. They're still able to do the mission that you have, even though it's a higher level mission. And what's really cool about that is by playing a lot, you're not inherently getting more powerful weapons. You're getting cosmetically cooler stuff, but you're never going to be able to overpower someone based on just the powerfulness of your weapons. So it's really beginner friendly, other than just the fact that sailing is not easy. So we spawn in the tavern. There's a couple places you may spawn. Either here, sometimes you spawn on the beach, or you may spawn on a ship that's already out at sea. Obviously, since I'm sailing a sloop by myself, that didn't happen, right? So you can see my ship down there. So we'll kind of make our way down there. Not really the way you're supposed to go, but, whatever. So you can see here, you can buy tools, you can buy weapons. Again, it's going to be cosmetic. You have access to everything from the get-go. I'll show you that in the ship. So you can see here, this is one of the guilds. This is a hoarder. These are the guys that go after chests, right? So I'm going to talk to him, and he gives me the option to browse the offers, right? And you'll see here, to start off with, because I have 0 gold, I haven't played in this beta yet. They keep resetting them. All the quests start off as 0 gold. So if we select one, let's go ahead and select this one. I want to buy it, sure. So now that quest is in my inventory.
Come back soon.
And the way that's going to work is I'm going to run back to my ship, which hopefully I don't get sunk while I'm going through this. It would kind of mess the flow up a little bit. Climb onto your ship. Again, the sloop and the galleon are going to be a little bit differently. On the sloop here, you have your ammo chests, so you can actually go in and you can actually select different weapons. So if you want to use a sniper rifle instead of the pistol, which I generally do, you have that option. So that's pretty cool. It'll also be where your cosmetic stuff shows up. You have ammo right here. You have your map table here. What we're going to start with is this table right here, which is the captain's table. And basically here you can propose a voyage. What will happen is you select the quest. It'll show up on there. And then dependent on the size of your crew, if you're sailing alone, you're the only one who votes for it. But if you have other people on your crew, then they would all have to vote for that quest. Whichever quest that everyone votes for, that's the one you do. So I'll go ahead and vote for this one. Obviously, I'm on my own. Still see that the quest pops up, right? And so basically what will happen is, depending on the quest and all that stuff, generally what will happen is the map will show up in your inventory. You access that on Xbox by hitting the right bumper. And you get a radial wheel here, and you can see there's actually 2 different maps. So that means there's treasure on both maps. Sometimes you'll get a map, sometimes you'll get like 5 maps. And it's weird. I don't know what the consistency is, because I've done higher level missions where there's 5, and I've done higher level missions where there's 1. And if you do the higher level one with 1 map, you really don't get much payout. So it's kind of odd. But yeah, so basically I can select this one here. Oop. Select that one there. If I hold the right trigger, I can actually see the map. And you'll see that on the southern tip of this island, looks kind of like a heart, that's where the chest is, right? So what you can do is you'll go over to the map table, and then your goal is to find it. I noticed, I've played this game entirely too much already, that it's pretty close. So it's actually right here. It's Barnacle K. So you can see the layout's identical. Once you find it, hover your cursor over it, hit A, and that'll set the waypoint. Now, that doesn't show up anywhere other than the map table, so you still have to figure it out, right? You can see where the ship is in relation to the island, and I need to go northwest, right? And you can zoom out, kind of get a better view. The sloop, even though it is a smaller ship and easier to sail with 1 person, is still difficult, just because you have to hop off the wheel. When you're sailing longer distances, you have to hop off the wheel, go check the map to see where you are. It's a lot easier if you have 1 other person with you, just to see the map, and honestly, it's more fun. So yeah, we need to go northwest, right? And really quick, when you come down here, you can see we have the tankard. That's how you get more beer or grog. You have the clothing chest, so if you have any cosmetic stuff, basically you can go in and equip that cosmetic stuff, which is kind of cool. Again, no fundamental effect on the game. I dress in a dress, that's new. No fundamental effect, it's purely going to be cosmetic. You'll see here that I have wooden planks, so if the ship takes damage, I can pull some planks from here and repair the damage. This is not infinite, so you do have to refill these on the island as you're kind of looking for treasure. Here you have the vanity chest, so that's going to be cosmetic, as in terms of like facial hair, almost did facial fur, facial hair, kind of accessories, stuff like that, right? Back here you have your equipment chest, so if you have maybe a nicer bucket, you can get like an admiral's bucket. Again, no functional difference, it's purely cosmetic, but there's a lot of that there. And then you also have this one right here, which is the bananas. Those are health, so if you take damage, you eat a banana. Same thing with the planks. It's also true for the cannonballs. They are not infinite. You do have to find them and plunder them, and it is pretty important, especially if you're playing on a galleon, that you stockpile those. So if we go above decks, you'll see you have the cannons here. It's always a good idea on the sloop anyways. Your cannonballs are right here. They're below decks on the galleon. Grab a couple. It's always a good idea to sail with a loaded cannon, just in case you need to fire. You don't have to take time to do that. That said, if you're in a sloop and you're on your own, you're probably not going to win a fight. So your best bet's to run. Just throwing that out there. The other thing, if you want to access weapons, again, this is going to be Xbox controller. You hit the Y button. And that'll cycle through your 2 guns, or your 2 weapons, sorry. So, again, you saw in the equipment chest, you can equip whatever you want. And if you hold the left radial, these are various other pieces of equipment. So you can see planks there, I don't have any on me, cannonballs, bananas, your compass. Compass is really important because obviously it shows you the direction. So if you're on an island, the treasure's on the south side of the island. That's a big deal. Beyond that, though, the other thing you can use it for is there's riddles, too. So it'll say paces. So if you hold the right trigger while you're using it, it'll actually count out paces. Right? So that's pretty important there. Bucket, if you start taking on water, you're going to have to use the bucket to bail it out. You got your lantern. So if you're in a dark space, you can use the lantern. Shovel to dig up treasure. The telescope, which also comes in handy. So if you think you see a ship on the horizon, you can kind of scope in that way. And then you also have the more. More is my favorite tab. I don't know what that is. That's new. What is this? It's a clock. All right, that has not been there before. I'll be honest, I don't know what that's for yet. And then you also have the musical instruments and then your grog. So if you want to get drunk. So you should have a lot of fun with that radial. I like it a lot. But yeah, so sailing mechanics. There's a few things to know. This right here is how you set sail length. So right now the sails are raised entirely. So as you're coasting up to the island you want to go to, you're going to want to raise the sails. I mean, you can just drop anchor, but that's a little abrupt. So if you have more than one person on the crew, it's always a good idea to raise sails. If you're sailing on a galleon, you have multiple sets of sails, so you can kind of gradually slow down as you get closer. And then you also have this thing here, which is setting sail angle. I'll explain the importance of that here in a minute. You're going to have the anchor. It's going to be in a different place on the galleon. On the galleon, it's going to be towards the front, but the exact same concept. On the sloop, it is easier to raise because you're going to have less people. So generally what you're going to want to do when you're setting off first is raise the anchor. That way, when you drop the sail, if it'll let me, there it goes. When you drop sail, you start moving, so you want to make sure you're kind of pointed away from the shore. You don't want to crash into it, because you will take damage. So yeah, like I said, I kind of forgot what direction I was heading. I think I said southwest, yeah? Northwest. Okay. So that's almost a straight shot. So basically what I'm going to do now is drop sail. And then if you look, you can see the wind. I pointed at the monitor like that does anything. You'll see the wind. It's coming from my left to right. What you want to do is catch as much of that wind as possible. So you're going to use this guy right here and turn it so that you're trying to catch as much wind as possible. And I can't catch the full wind. It'll actually billow out and make a noise when you've caught full wind. Since I'm sailing kind of away from it, it's not possible at this point. Yeah, so I'm sailing northwest. I think it's that island actually directly in front of me. I don't know why I turned. But as you can see, this game's gorgeous. I'm playing this on the 1S. I've also played it on the X and on the PC. It's even prettier on the X. I'll be honest, I didn't really notice much of a difference between the PC and the X, which I guess is kind of the point. The X is supposed to be super powerful, right? So as you can see, we're underway. One piece of advice I would give you is if you're sailing at night, you probably want to kill the lanterns on your boat just because other ships can see them. So you kind of become a target, especially if you're on a sloop. They know that you're an easier target, right? So it's really easy. You just walk up to them, you just hit X, and that turns it off. Really simple. So yeah, basically we're headed to this island right here. And I'm glad it was an island this close because it makes this video really easy to make for you guys. So while we're sailing, yeah, so like I said, I personally love this game a lot. It's not going to be for everyone. Some people aren't going to like it. Some people are going to find it kind of boring. It's one of those things, if you have a good group of friends who are all going to play, you're going to have an absolute blast. Because the game is way more than just its components. It's not about necessarily just doing missions. It's about the moments I've had, even playing with strangers. You know, I got so drunk that I couldn't drop the anchor and kept getting on a cannon on accident, and we overshot the island. Or just kind of getting together and playing music. It's that kind of stuff, right? It's just the goofy moments that can happen when you're playing with other people. So I highly recommend you matchmake. And please, oh, there's a ship in front of me, so yeah, we'll see what happens. I highly recommend that you, actually I almost beg, that you use a mic. Communication is vital if you're going to play this game, and if you're not wearing a mic, the rest of the crew is not going to be happy with you. I'm just going to be honest, and then just communicate. My experience so far is, you know, obviously it's the beta, so it's a little different, but the community is very welcoming. They're very willing to teach people how to play, as long as the people are willing to listen, is what it comes down to. So yeah, so we're on the islands. I'm pretty sure we're already on the southern edge of the island, but let's double check. Oh, skeleton. One thing to know is if you press and hold the trigger, you'll do a charge, which does a lot more damage. Kind of overlooked a lot. So there's a very small taste of combat. Yeah, so we're gonna want to pull out our compass to see what end of the island we're on. We want to be on the southernmost end, which we are. I kind of knew that already. And the treasure, if you look at the map here, is basically between two rocks, right? So it's actually should be like right here. Should be like right here. So we want to pull out the shovel and start digging. Heard the thud. I got it right first try. I'm glad because I'm recording this. And you're gonna dig it up. Multiple people can actually dig these up at the same time. Expedites the process a little bit. This is a standard chest. There are like epic chests and stuff like that. Some of them you have to be careful of. There's like a drunk chest where you'll like stagger around like you're drunk if you're trying to carry it. It can make it really difficult to get back to the ship. And then there's another one which is even more dangerous, which will actually sink your ship if you're not careful. It actually cries, and the water can actually flood your ship if you're not paying attention. So yeah, let's drop this chest off. And, you know, technically I do have another island to go to, but just for the sake of the video, we'll go ahead and sail back to this other island. Plus the fact that there is that ship right there, though they're sailing with full lanterns, which is odd. Sometimes this is a good indication. Sometimes that means they're not trying to start a fight or anything, but you can't take anything for granted here. So yeah, basically clear this waypoint because it'll get really confusing if you don't. And we're just sailing southeast to go back to that outpost to sell the chest. So same process. We're going to raise anchor. And you can actually see, you saw me just cycle past the chest, right, or right past the outpost right there. It's lit up. It's kind of hard to miss. Some pieces of advice is if you are in a firefight with another ship and you need to turn quicker, you can actually raise sails. If you raise the sails all the way up, you will turn quicker. The other option is if you need to do kind of like a handbrake turn. Once you turn the wheel all the way one direction, if you drop anchor, it'll do a pretty hard, I think it's about a 90-degree turn. So that can come in handy as well. Though bear in mind, you do all have to pick up the anchor. It does take a while, so it does slow you down. So you can see the wind's actually coming from behind us now, so we can actually capture the wind if I can get it. There it goes. And you can see I'm having trouble juggling turning the sails and turning the ship. To be fair, there is a storm right off my side, which does not make things easier. You know, it is harder to navigate the ship in storms. But while we're sailing back, yeah, I like this game a lot. If you're looking for a very narrative-driven story game, it's not for you. I'll be honest. It's Grand Theft Auto Online. It's not Grand Theft Auto 5. If you're looking for a game that you can just goof around and have fun in, this is absolutely it. Like I said, every experience I've had in matchmaking, except for maybe one, has been great. I've had great crews. Unfortunately, you do get people who sometimes don't have mics. You know, it is what it is. It does make it a lot harder. But yeah. So what you're seeing here is kind of a gist of kind of a typical voyage, right? So you go out, you find the chest, and you bring it back and you sell it. Again, I had that second chest to grab. I just didn't, just for the sake of time. But, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the gist of it, right? So, I should probably pay attention because I'm about to crash. So, as we get closer to the island, I can raise sails. It'll slow us down a little bit. I'm going to overshoot it because it's kind of hard to steer at the same time. Actually, not that bad. Drop anchor. Alright, grab the chest. It doesn't matter where you put the chest when it's on your ship. People will put it in different places. Most people take it to the captain's quarters, just because that's the most convenient when you're going to sell it. It also makes it the easiest to steal, though. So if someone else tries to board your ship, you're an easy target. Other people will put it way down below, kind of in the brig area, which is definitely safer if your ship's being boarded, but it also makes it less convenient to sell when you go to do that. So I'm taking the chest to the same guy, right? You can go to any outpost. You don't have to go back to the same outpost as you were at. Any outpost. And I'm going to sell it to him. And then what will happen is I gain some gold, right? And then beyond that, once I finish the actual mission, because I still have that other map, right? It's still here. Once I finish the mission, I gain reputation with him. And actually, okay, you get reputation no matter what, whether it's done or not, as long as you sell a chest. I didn't know that. So yeah, my reputation went up. And that allows for a few things. That'll allow me to get other missions. So right now I'm still at 0 quote-unquote missions. But once I get to rank 5, I can basically level up and get higher end missions for them. A lot of different things like puzzles and stuff like that. And you can see I can also buy special stuff. Again, physically no different. It's just cosmetic. And that's really kind of a brief description of what the game is and how it works. I hope this was beneficial, whether it's your purchasing decision or whether you're new to the game, you just want to learn how to play. Yeah, thanks for watching. First time I've done this, feel free to like and subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate it. Have a great day.